Hey guys, good morning. Welcome to another edition of Motorcyclist MC Commute. You guys know the deal this morning. We're going to be riding to the motorcyclist office in Southern California on Harley-Davidson's 2020 LiveWire. So without further ado, let's throw the helmet on and go for a ride. Well guys, here she is, Harley-Davidson's 2020 LiveWire. This is an all-electric motorcycle engineered and produced by the motor company. Harley-Davidson has 117 years history making motorcycles, internal combustion gasoline powered motorcycles. But for 2020, they've come out with this thing. This is all electric, designed, engineered, and manufactured in-house here in America by Harley-Davidson. Look at the lines of this bike. This is a motorcycle that turns heads. It looks like it's straight out of Tron. Look at that LED headlight, that masculine cowl right there. The tank, that signature Harley-Davidson right there. Look at that battery pack. Look how just robust and meaty it looks. I love that Harley-Davidson stamp on the front of the thing. Look at the motor. It's a bullet-shaped motor that sits right there underneath the battery. It's a permanent magnet motor which generates the thrust to make this bike go so fast. Look at that wasp tail. I really like the lines of this motorcycle. I like the proportions. I like the fit and finish of it too. But enough talking about it. Let's swing a leg over it and see what it's like to ride. Alright guys, here we are. We've got a key fob. This motorcycle does not have a traditional mechanical key. It uses a remote key fob, which I have in my pocket. So when the key fob is in proximity to the vehicle, you can power it on. Now we have it on. We'll do it again real quick. So right now there's no propulsion. You want to make it go, you have to hit this switch here. That turns it on. And then to make it live, so it'll actually move forward, you have to hit this button. And these two green lights on the side of the dash illuminate. And when they illuminate, you know it's time to ride. We've got different power mode settings here. We can use the touch screen. Well, we can use the touch screen when the vehicle's off. We're supposed to, but instead we'll just use this mode button because that one works a little bit easier for us. Oops, we powered it off. Let's power it back on. All right, so here we can select our different riding modes. We've got normal, sport, rain, eco or range mode, and then 3 custom modes. We're going to select custom mode 3, which we already set up. Custom mode 3 has maximum power, minimum regen, and maximum throttle response. So away we go, guys. Right away, hopping on this motorcycle, I really dig the ergonomics of this thing. The handlebar is nice and wide. It's got a little bit of rearward sweep, but nothing too crazy. Very meaty stance. The seat, the seating position it's very sporty. The foot pegs are rather high for a Harley-Davidson and any sport-oriented motorcycle. But it's slim. This is a very slim motorcycle. It definitely feels sizable when you lift it off the kickstand. This is a 553-pound motorcycle. It is very heavy. But when you're riding it, it feels very light. Very light. The proportions on it are proper too. It doesn't feel like it's too long. It doesn't feel like it's too short. Wheelbase wise, it's a little bit smaller than a Harley-Davidson Sportster 1200. Let's get in front of this guy. And all that juice, guys, we can zip very easily through traffic. The only thing is this motorcycle obviously doesn't make a whole lot of noise, so you have to be cognizant of that because motorists aren't going to hear you in a traditional way on this thing. But thankfully, this bike stands out with its cutting edge looks and its extremely bright LED headlight. And away we go, guys. Let's give her the beans. Now this LiveWire is powered by a permanent magnet electric motor. That's that bullet-shaped canister on the bottom of the motorcycle. Harley-Davidson says that the motor is good for 86 foot-pound torque. 86. But to be honest, that number feels low. It feels like it puts out more power than that. Let's go to sport mode. Feels like it puts more power out than that figure. While we're at a stop here, a really interesting, we'll have to talk about it in a second, but 86 pound-feet of torque. This thing gets moving in a hurry. Oops, we're going a little fast, guys. We turn the cruise control on, make our life easy. Cruise control here on the switchgear is a standard feature. It's very easy to activate. Push it in, turn it on, push it down to set it, push it up to increase the speed, down, decrease. And that's one of the things I like about this motorcycle. If you're familiar with Harley-Davidson switchgear, you're gonna like this thing because the switchgear is identical to a Harley-Davidson. Same look, same feel, same touch, same positioning, and I like that. I like how meaty the buttons are. The tactile function is fairly good. I mean, some people that maybe want a little bit less chunky buttons wouldn't be so happy with the switchgear, but I think it's pretty good. Love accelerating on this thing. When you give this bike the beans, it quite literally feels like you're on a roller coaster ride. That crazy roller coaster like acceleration that, you know, puts you back in your seat and makes your stomach go to your throat. That is the kind of feeling you have on this motorcycle. It's a very unique experience, and even though it's different from a traditional gasoline powered motorcycle, it is still exhilarating. Of course, since there's no pistons going up and down, no 45-degree pistons going up and down, there's no vibration. Very smooth, very quiet riding position or riding experience. You do hear some things like the whine of the bevel drive. The whine of the bevel drive. If you have subtle ears, you can hear the noise of the tires rolling against the pavement, but to be fair, it's a very subtle noise. You can hear the brake pads bite into the disc brakes. You can hear that as well. So it's a different riding experience in a different set of senses. So here to stop, a cool engineering feature Harley-Davidson integrated into this motorcycle is a haptic feature where you literally feel at an idle, at stop here, you feel the electric motor rocking back and forth, and Harley-Davidson timed it so it would feel like a heartbeat, and that allows you to know that the motorcycle's motor is online and ready to give you acceleration when you twist the throttle. Unlike a conventional motorcycle, there is no clutch, there is no transmission. This is direct drive, one speed. Controls on this motorcycle are simply the throttle, the front brake here on the right side of the handlebar, and the rear brake, which is mounted on the right side of the foot peg. That is how you control this motorcycle. Love how quick this thing is. I just can't help but speed on this thing. It just accelerates so quickly. Mirrors give a nice clear view of what's going on behind you. There's no vibration, which I like. The mirrors have the same pleasing shape as other Harley-Davidson motorcycles. This instrument panel you can move up or down. It's a 4.3-inch color TFT display. It is touchscreen compatible with gloves, but sometimes for whatever reason I have to take my gloves off to make it work. Generally I prefer using this mode button. It's more consistent for me, but still nice that Harley-Davidson engineered touchscreen functionality. Oh man, this bike is just eating up this turn. It's unbelievable how good the steering is on this bike. Braking power, very strong. Got a set of Brembo disc brakes up front. Radial monoblock calipers. Connected to this standard hydraulic master cylinder, and even though this thing's not a radial pump master cylinder like it would be on a high performance sport bike, the braking feel and power is very good. Gotta remember, this is a 556-pound motorcycle. This thing is not light. I wish we'd go through here, guys, but a little tight. Thanks, man. 553-pound motorcycle, very heavy, yet with this braking components, this bike sheds speed very well, very quickly. And this is the great thing about riding a motorcycle, whether it be gasoline or electric. You can just get to where you're going right away and zip through traffic here in California, where it's legal to split lanes. It's a huge time savings for California commuters, and it makes it fun. So we're riding on the notorious bumpy road right now, and you definitely feel the bumps through this chassis. Now, one of the things I really like about this bike is how solid it feels. It feels like it's built from a block of aluminum, but at the same time, because it is so heavy, when you hit those bumps, all that weight just jars up and down. And the suspension does a good job of controlling that action, but still, there's no denying the amount of inertia in this motorcycle when it hits bumps. The shock mounts directly between the swing arm and the frame. There's no linkage. It would be interesting to know if Harley-Davidson fitted a linkage on this bike and how that would affect the ride quality. But overall, on a bumpy road, it's not the best ride quality, but it's not the worst either. The nice thing about this bike is the suspension offers adjustment. You've got preload adjustment, spring preload on the fork, on the shock, and then you have damping adjustment, rebound and compression. So you can tune the damping characteristics of this motorcycle. We slowed down the rebound of the bike, of the fork and the shock, and I was actually impressed with how much range the damping circuit has on this bike. So we charged this motorcycle up overnight via the included 110 volt 3-prong household power adapter. It plugs in right here. I can't lift it for whatever reason. Plugs in right here. You put the power cable underneath the seat. There's a little latch here on the seat. You pull that, the seat comes up, and that's where the cable is stored. That is level 1 charging, designed to be used in any household 3-prong outlet. Charging the motorcycle via that medium, 13 miles per hour. So you get 13 miles of range per hour of charge. That equates to around, it's going to take around 10 hours, 11 hours to charge the battery from when it's completely drained on that level 1 system. Of course, the motorcycle uses a conventional J1772. That's the standard power input receptacle. You plug it in right here when you flip that cover. Now, oddly enough, level 2 charging is not available on this motorcycle. So some of the competition, some of the other electric vehicles, they support level 2 charging, but Harley-Davidson does not. Instead, they support level 3 fast charge. So level 3 fast charge allows this 15.5 kilowatt hour. Now 15.5 kilowatt hour is the capacity of the battery pack. So it allows you to charge that from near 0% to 80% in 40 minutes. And then the 40 minutes to 60 minutes, that last 20% where the batteries are topping off, that takes another 20 minutes. So with level 3 DC fast charge, this motorcycle can be fully charged in 1 hour. Now the caveat is there isn't a lot of level 3 fast charging stations available. Level 2 is more prevalent right now. But Harley-Davidson says that level 3 fast charging is going to outpace level 2 charging systems very soon here. Harley-Davidson's invested all of the 160 Harley-Davidson dealerships that will be selling the LiveWire they now include level 3 fast chargers there. So if you buy a Harley-Davidson, you can always go back to the dealership and charge it for free. Harley-Davidson's mentality is that when you go home at night, you're going to slow charge it at home. You don't want to buy a level 2 box or a level 3 box. You just want to use your standard household power. Get the battery up to 100%. Go on your ride. While you're out and about during the day, if you need to charge it, you can stop by the Harley-Davidson dealership or any other level 3 fast charging facility, which you can find on your phone via the Harley-Davidson iOS or Android app. Go there, sit there for 40 minutes, get 80% of juice in your battery, and then go about your day. Interesting design and use philosophy by Harley-Davidson. For reference, if you have access to a level 2 J1772 power point, you can still plug it into this motorcycle, but it's only going to accept the charge at the standard 13 miles per hour input, so the standard level 1 input, despite using level 2. An interesting little thing is we have at our motorcyclist office in Southern California, we have a J1772 level 2 charging station. We have that to charge our electric automobiles and other motorcycles. Now when I plug this motorcycle in to top off the battery after my ride yesterday, oh my god, we're speeding again. I'm so sorry everyone. This motorcycle is just so entertaining to ride, makes so much thrust, it's so easy. We'll put the cruise control on again and make things safer for everyone. Alright, 51 miles per hour. So when I plugged in this motorcycle to our level 2 charging system, the charging system displayed a fault. So for whatever reason, our level 2 charger and this motorcycle do not talk. They don't talk. So I was unable to accept any charge at work. But thankfully my office to my home is only 13 miles. So far we've gone 7.3 miles in sport mode, maximum power. We've drained 10% of the battery. 57 miles of range remain. Let's go back to that mode C. I like that mode. Again, at idle here, I feel that haptic pulse, the motor rocking between its magnets and giving that little heartbeat that just lets you know that the motor is online. Really neat feature. This instrument display, it looks nice, but geez, I wish it was a little bigger. 4.3 inches in size, which approximately the size of an iPhone 6, iPhone 7, iPhone 8, but realistically this display should be bigger. I also like, we haven't got into it yet, but I like how the menu system isn't overly complicated. They really pared down a lot of the features and made it easy to use. This motorcycle is also equipped with Harley-Davidson's cellular feature, HD Connect, I believe it's called. And this feature allows you to communicate with your motorcycle via the Harley-Davidson app. So let's say you're charging your motorcycle while running some errands. It'll tell you how much time till charge, where the batteries are at, other riding metrics, and that's a standard feature on this LiveWire. It's all accessed via the iOS or Android proprietary Harley-Davidson phone app. So a neat feature for sure. One of the things I really like about this motorcycle more than anything is the steering on it. The steering on it, it is crazy how maneuverable this motorcycle is. And not only how maneuverable it is, but when you lean this thing into a corner, it's just, the steering feel is so natural. It doesn't have any weird flop. It doesn't have any weird sharpness where it turns in sharp and then gets more progressively sharp as you lean it over. It's just very neutral, very controlled handling. By far, that's one of the greatest features of this motorcycle. Throttle response on this thing is very accurate. You just give it the slightest twist and the motor spools up immediately and gives you that response. Alright guys, we're blocked. Let's pass this guy so at least we can have some fun. Brakes are very responsive on this motorcycle. I wish Harley-Davidson had a brake lever position dial. The position of the lever is fixed. And to be fair, the brake lever is a little bit far out. I would definitely adjust that to be more in. If it was my bike. If I could adjust it, that is. Here we are, guys, giving her the beans. Up to 100 miles per hour, just like that. Sorry we're breaking the law right now, but it's all in the name of testing, guys. We're testing. This thing rides on Michelin Scorcher tires, 120/70 front, 180 55/17 rear. Sorry about that, guys. I was trying to make that light. We're using the brakes aggressively there. Thankfully, this bike comes equipped with ABS, and not just any ABS. It has cornering ABS functionality. That means an IMU chip inside this machine gives the motorcycle positional awareness, so it knows where it is in relation to the earth. That means when the motorcycle is leaned over, it only allows a certain amount of brake input to mitigate front tire lockup. And you'd be amazed at how much input you can put into these front brakes while leaned over. Conversely, this motorcycle has traction control, on and off traction control. You can manually disable it here. And that traction control system is lean angle sensitive as well. So if you're going around a corner and you give this thing the beans, theoretically it will mitigate any wheel spin and loss of control. Really neat safety feature, especially on this kind of motorcycle, because you never really know what the limits are of tire adhesion on an electric bike because they're just so new. And they make such instant torque that they can spool up that rear Michelin Scorcher tire very easily. So that traction control and Cornering ABS is part of Harley-Davidson's RDRS. That's their acronym for their rider safety system. It's an optional feature on Harley-Davidson touring rigs. Standard on the LiveWire. Harley-Davidson did a really good job with the calibration of the settings. It feels relatively seamless when you're riding. And kudos to Harley-Davidson for getting it right on their first try. Got to remember that technology has just been introduced for the 2020 model year, 2019 model year. So props to them for getting it right off the bat. Alright guys, we're almost to work. Gone almost 12 miles and used 18% battery capacity. Cool factoid about this battery is it's actually a Samsung source battery, but the whole power system is automotive grade. So this is the same componentry that an automobile vehicle manufacturer would use in its EV type of vehicle. So motor designed, engineered by Harley-Davidson, Samsung built battery pack to Harley-Davidson spec. Well guys, riding from stoplight to stoplight sure is a bear, but it definitely is more entertaining on this LiveWire. This motorcycle comes with a 2-year warranty, 2-year unlimited mileage warranty. The battery pack is also warranted for 5 years. Maintenance on this motorcycle, it's relatively maintenance free. At the 1,000 mile mark, you need to adjust the tension of the right hand side belt final drive. So adjust that. Harley-Davidson also says you need to change the fluid in the transmission. There's a little bit of motor oil in there. Change that at 1,000 miles and then so on and so forth. And then the cooling system, this thing actually has a radiator. The motor is liquid cooled, and Harley-Davidson recommends that fluid be changed, I think, every 50,000 miles. Guys, we can't do a wheelie, but we'll try it. Whoa, it did a little wheelie. Did you see that? Little wheelie. Oh yeah, look at that wheelie. Yeah, there we go. Definitely did a nice little wheelie. Good job, Harley-Davidson. You really gotta lift her up, but she does it. No back it in due to ABS. Of course we can do a burnout though. Look at the burnout, guys. Kind of neat, right? Does that really good. Give these people in the office complex something to do for a second. And here we are, guys. A fun ride on the LiveWire. Who knew that riding an electric motorcycle could be so entertaining? As this motorcycle sits, $29,800 is the asking price for this motorcycle. With this orange fuse colorway, that tacks on another $350, so $30,149 for this bike. There it is, guys. Harley-Davidson's 2020 LiveWire. $30,149 for this motorcycle. Really enjoy it. Really like the look of it. This bike looks like nothing else on the road. It's a head turner. When you're riding around town, people are looking at you. They're turning their heads. Love the fit and finish on this bike. That paint No one does motorcycle paint like Harley-Davidson. They are a leader in that segment. And the paint work on this motorcycle is awesome. We'll show you guys here real quick. This is where you insert the power. J1772 adapter here. Level 1 fast charge right there. If you want to access the power plug, push this lever here. The seat comes up. There is the power. 110 household 3-prong. Little lever right here allows you to lower it. That's that. Let's do some Q&A, guys. All right, guys, here we are. Motorcyclists Online on Instagram. Let's go here to the top, guys. Let's get some nice comments here. Why is it so expensive? This motorcycle is so expensive because it is a premium product. The fit and finish and attention to detail and engineering is at a very high level. This motorcycle also is very expensive to design. You got to think about it. Even though Harley-Davidson came out with Project LiveWire in 2013, this motorcycle shares no parts with that machine besides maybe some screws. All new engineering, all new parts. That is why it's so expensive. Which is better, this or a Zero? That's a great question. I would have to say that I actually like this bike better. It is maybe not quite as fast as the Zero, but it looks better. It rides better, and I just like the way it looks and the way it rides, even though it maybe is a little bit slower. It does look great. Yes, it does. Moto R64 asks, does it emit a lot of heat during city riding? No, it doesn't emit any heat. It emits no heat. There's no ping sounding from the engine cooling after the ride because there is no engine. This motorcycle emits no heat while riding. Motorcyclist _Ed asks, hey, what's up, buddy? How does it handle its weight? Handles great. 553 pound curb weight, but this motorcycle feels much lighter in action. On the kickstand, it is a little bit of a brute to move back and forth, but in motion, it handles its weight very well in a superior way than the Zero SRF, despite weighing 50 pounds more. Does the horn sound traditional or futuristic? A very traditional sounding horn, and you're going to need it because people aren't going to be able to hear you very well. Would you recommend any electric motorcycle as a beginner motorcycle? I would not recommend this motorcycle as a beginner motorcycle for a rider because, number one, it's really heavy. That's number one. Number two, even though the calibration of the throttle response is good, this thing makes a lot of power. It's really easy for this motorcycle to get away from you. A beginner rider should start on a smaller displacement gasoline motorcycle or a scooter. Learn how to use the clutch. Learn how to get in it in a more safer manner. And then once you have some time on your belt, then get an electric bike. Harley-Davidson, this is just the first electric motorcycle coming out from Harley-Davidson. They say they have an entire line of EV type motorcycles coming out soon, so no doubt in the next 5 years we're going to see a more entry-level electric motorcycle from them. When that bike comes out, then it's going to be a suitable option for a beginner rider. If money no factor, this or the Zero? This is the bike. I like this bike. All right, guys, that's a wrap from the let's do one more question. This one's good. Does it stir the stole like a motorcycle with a combustion engine? No, it does not. It's different. It's different for sure. It doesn't have that sound and that combustion noise, but at the same time, this is still a fun motorcycle to ride. It makes like a nice kind of whine when you're riding it. It's so zippy and sporty and maneuverable that's fun. The sensation of just being able to hear the birds and the bees and the tires and the brake pads and just having a little bit more sensation with the world while you're riding instead of hearing an engine, hearing the exhaust. I like that too. I wouldn't say it's better, but it's just different, and different is good. All right, guys, that's a wrap with the 2020 Harley-Davidson LiveWire MC Commute. Would I spend $30,149 for this motorcycle? I would maybe buy it if I lived in an urban area, or if I was someone who needed to transport myself between short distances and I wanted a stylish motorcycle that's fun to ride, easy to charge, easy to live with, low maintenance. Yes, I would consider this motorcycle. But for me personally, living in Southern California where I have to go very far distances everywhere, and I need a lot of different motorcycles in my life to appease my needs, flat track, supermoto, motocross, all the bikes, I couldn't get this motorcycle because it's just too expensive. But that said, if you are a person who has some extra cash in your pocket, you want something that looks really cool, something that you're only going to ride around town short distances, absolutely I would buy this motorcycle. This motorcycle is fun to ride, well built, and it just looks awesome. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to check out motorcyclistonline.com for a review of the LiveWire. I believe there's one there, and we'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.